Hey guys, SkeelsyShoota here, episode 6 of the QuadFeed podcast, but I have a confession. The computer stuffed up about 3/4 of the way through, so it ends at about the 1 hour 35 mark, which technically is still a full show, and I hope you enjoy all the same, but yeah, apologies, and we'll fix it up for next week. So, enjoy the show, and hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey everyone, SkeelsyShoota here, episode 6 of the QuadFeed podcast. We have come down from the dizzying heights of last week with super duper guests and thought, you know what, can't do another 2 a.m. finish, so we're going to keep it nice and normal. Midday, supposedly. Midday start. Looking at you. So yeah, we thought we'd kick off show number 6. My usual bunch of cronies are here. Beniamino.
Hello, how are you?
Good, mate, you alright? So you've shotgunned Miranda already. I might have something to say about that.
No, that's alright.
I get dibs. I get first dibs. The elder statesman on the podcast gets to make those calls.
Is that how it rolls, eh?
Totally how it rolls, man.
Yeah.
Experience counts. Experience counts, motherfucker.
And if anyone asks, I'm not playing Hearthstone in the background right now.
You're totally not.
What?
Playing
No,
or
not at all.
losing.
Oh good, I just won. There we go. Alright, I'm back.
Cool. We'll talk a bit about that later, actually, because I really don't get the either the fascination or maybe you can convert me. I don't know. Mind you, it sounds like it's rarer than hen's teeth to try and get a beta key or
A little bit, yeah.
or a key or whatever. Christoph. Oh yeah, I see you dibs the baby. That's
Well, yeah, I was a bit late to the party. I thought, I got to get something out of this. So,
yeah. No matter how immoral or how
Yeah.
or how
well, I'm hoping it comes with visitation rights from Miranda.
So you know what? That's why I like you, Chris. Sort of thinking outside the square and yeah.
He wants to bone a baby.
Well, I don't think that's
Just take
implied.
care of it.
Yeah.
Hey, it's pretty clear to me what his intentions are. Chris.
Well,
Known you for a while, Chris. I know what you're like.
God almighty. That face alone, Ron. Oh, we'll say hello to Ron as well.
Oh, yeah, hi. And yeah, you know what? Orlando's mine. That's it. Nobody's even fighting me for him.
I thought you meant the state. I mean, there's a lot of lots of orange
Orlando.
juice to be had in Orlando, but
No,
or Florida rather.
the
But you meant the man, didn't you?
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna change it to. Do I have to put in?
You just put shotgun Orlando, Florida, and just go, yeah, I'll
Orlando, Florida.
capital B. God, so.
But do you only want him because of his collection of puffy shirts and pirate outfits?
Pretty much. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to, like, chill out with him? And, like, he was in those Pirates movies, and he's dreamy.
So
He's so
dreamy.
dreamy.
And he was in that little-known series called Lord of the Rings as well. So it's kind of like, you might have a bit of fantasy as well. He might still have those costumes for you, Ron.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And you know what? He's pretty as a blonde as well. Like,
You got a pretty face.
Yeah.
You got a pretty mouth.
I cannot wait to his mouth.
Awesome. We have, reached the first edit point of today's show. Cool.
Yes, I got one in right at the beginning of the show.
Well,
Well, at least you won't have to, skip all the way to like halfway through or some random time to find it. You know it's at the start.
Let me just make
Yeah.
note of that. Hang on a second. Okay.
Are you going to put the same porno music in the background, or?
I don't know. I might just put a picture of Orlando's face over it.
Yeah, okay, whatever works, you know.
There wasn't a
I'm
whole
happy
lot of
with
length of time to it though, so it's not like I can sort of, get into the swing of a song or anything. It might just be a cut to
I
a
can-
song for about
I-
3 seconds whilst Ron does his thing, and then
I can speak at length about what I'm gonna do.
no, you cannot.
Well, I guess Ellen Page gets to hold the record for now.
Yeah,
Did you
and I like that music as well.
get a message from her? Did you hear about it?
Oh yeah. She got her people to contact my people.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
We're setting something up right now.
Her publicist was all over that shit. Yeah.
Mm.
But you've got to be careful with that at the moment because isn't she suing someone for Beyond Two Souls because they showed like some nudity scene or something like that?
What a topic. Yes. Let's touch on this.
Really?
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but yeah, I heard Ellen
I only
Page
caught like
naked in the same sentence, and I kind of went, "You have my attention."
Yeah.
And
Well,
Ron.
what,
like-
was it a hack or something?
I don't know. I only caught like half of the headline sort of thing. But yeah,
Oh, because I was going to say, like, if she filmed a naked part, wouldn't she expect it to be in there?
Actually,
Well,
So
no,
obviously
she didn't film it.
a naked.
No,
so they just
I think they just kinda-
animated it.
yeah,
it's basically
Wow.
like, you know, when they wear the bodysuits when they do all the motion capture, like all those dots and all that, like they can make her wear whatever they want.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she never had to put on any costumes or anything like that.
Yeah. Change
would do
clothing
that
to
too.
flesh tones and Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. Like, so they would have had to be like, oh, you know, pretend you're in a shower, blah 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 blah, and yeah, and I
that's the
reckon-
thing. I don't think they said, "Oh, pretend you're in a shower," because that would have been.
Pretend
Yeah.
you're dancing around an imaginary pole, perhaps, maybe.
Yeah.
And now you're deep throating a hot dog. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Peeling a banana?
Yeah, just don't stop. No, faster. But
You've
that's the
dropped,
thing,
you've
like,
dropped a contact lens and you're on all fours trying to look for it.
I remember,
So she's taking legal action, yeah?
Allegedly, that she may sue.
Right.
Yeah,
I know
against
who's behind it all,
Sony.
by the way. I know who's behind it all.
Who?
David Cage.
Michael Cera?
David
No,
Cage.
David Cage, the guy who made it.
Right.
'Cause he
What,
has,
as like some sort of reverse engineered marketing campaign? That's
So
smart.
that was his whole
Smart.
plan, was to get her
Yeah.
to dress up in a computer animation suit just so he could make it naked.
Yes,
Smart
I reckon.
man.
I believe so.
Smart
Only because, like, I remember I saw an interview where he's talking about how he came up with the idea, and he said he was typing, well, like he was searching the net, and then he typed in her name, and he was just like staring at pictures of her,
Yeah.
and then it's just like, oh yeah.
To be
And
fair to
what's-
him,
what-
I don't think he's the first person to come across that sort of thought process. Ellen Page,
Oh, yeah, that's
Ellen
true.
Page naked. Interesting. Let's see if anyone's done this before.
You know what? Fair call. But I'm just saying, he orchestrated the whole thing. That was his plan, and then he actually got her in the suit, and he's got the money and all that kind of stuff. And it was a really well,
He's a
it
hero's
wasn't much
hero.
of a game, honestly. It really wasn't much of a game. But still,
I kept on reading various different things about that game and whether or not, you know, it was even like a contender for like a game of the year, because from what I read, it was kind of like, yeah, from the makers of, and I'm like, okay, is it worth any attention? But I suppose for the same reasons that, you know, it was Heavy Rain, wasn't it? From developers, yeah. And I think one of the main criticisms of that was the control method was a bit funky, and everything was pretty much very quick time event, and you know, you were basically guiding things on rails to get to a particular outcome, and this was kind of felt like more of the same.
it was pretty much the same.
It's a more high-tech version of Myst.
Hey, but at least Myst was kind of, oh, come on, I didn't find that game fun.
But that's the thing. I mean, Heavy Rain was a lot of fun though. That was really good storyline. Blah blah blah, all that. But then and then everyone loved it. But then they've kind of done the same thing again, and everyone's like, all wary of it now, sort of thing. So
I mean, Heavy Rain had the advantage of being like a whodunit anyway, with the four main protagonists that you play, and the way the story got told. With Ellen Page's one, like, sure, you get a couple answers, but it's just like a story of her life where you're not like you want to know like what's behind Iden and that kind of stuff, but and when you get there, it's like, oh, okay, cool, that's a nice ending.
The one thing I kind of have read or listened to in various different reviews is that, you know, the storyline in itself does apparently an okay job of connecting you to the characters and all that sort of stuff, but as far as anything else to really immerse you in that game, it's not a whole lot, which I guess is why it got the scores that it did. Which kind of segues onto the first topic that I had. Do you think, and I'm aware I'm going to be a little bit biased in this, but do you think that video game review sites are being necessarily, you know, unnecessarily obtuse or harsh these days compared to other games that you would have seen before?
I reckon.
Yeah.
I'll start with Ben. I'm just going to go left to right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I maybe because they expect you know, certain level of entertainment or whatever, so they're trying to push them harder, or do you think because I mean, people always say, oh, they gave it a certain game a really good review because they're friends or they got money and all that sort of stuff. So, but no one's, I don't know if anyone's actually confirmed it or what. So what, did they maybe do it out of spite because they didn't get money, or?
I just think
I don't know.
Sometimes there's agendas at work in the background that I think they just put on the game that kind of make me, you know, question the validity of whether or not they're reviewing it for all the right reasons, kind of thing.
Yeah, almost to set it as like make an example of it also, whereas every now and then, yeah, we will hate on one big game for no reason or something.
I mean, I won't name them publicly. There's no, you know, you can search online, you can find there's probably one review that I'm referring to.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
Well, it's Grand Theft Auto 5 got a 9 out of a 10 from one particular place, and from what it came down to was a reviewer really did take offence to how the women were basically stereotyped as, you know, one of 3 or 4 different stereotypes in the game. You're either a stripper, you're either a hooker, you're either this completely, you know, fatuous Barbie doll kind of character, or you're just there as background to basically cop a punch or two from any one of the main 3 protagonists, kind of thing. It was kind of like, well, all great things about the game aside, I really took offense to how women are portrayed in this. And it's like, well, if this game is supposed to be have any sort of real life elements to it, then, you know, you could argue that, you know, that sort of stereotype was really only mirroring what we see in a few different aspects of real life.
Isn't that the whole point of like GTA? Like they're taking the out of like LA. Like
that's what I'm saying. They can't find a way to separate themselves from, like, it's almost like this game had to be a simulation of real life, and any sort of irony or taking the piss kind of thing just got completely thrown out the window. It's like, hang on, there are other types of females that do exist in real life, and they're not all strippers or they're not all hookers or something. I'm like, well, it's a game, for fuck's sake.
But if you play like devil's advocate for a second, isn't like a review part of like your own personal opinion?
Yeah.
Or is it supposed to be impartial, or like, because isn't that perfectly valid then? If she doesn't like it because of that sort of sense, that's a perfectly valid thing where, you know, if women are only portrayed as hookers or whatever, then that's obviously going to piss her off, so she's not going to like it. But I'm not sure, is a game review supposed to be impartial, or can your own personal opinions have an effect on a game? Well, because I've seen that heaps of times.
Yeah, I mean, let's. I mean, if you were to kind of bring on, God, what's her name, Jermaine Greer as a guest reviewer, I mean, that game would get a 2 out of 10 purely based on, you know, some of the elements in that game. is it worth getting a GTA fanboy to do your review, or to get someone who's completely unexposed or hasn't been exposed to any sort of GTA game in the past? Or do you take a cross section of what other game review sites have gone and reviewed it and go, oh, okay, well, there's obviously some strong claims to make this a 10 out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10 or something. But this one, the one thing that distanced this one review from it is because they named something completely separate to any sort of game development or anything like that. It was more of a social issue that she was looking to get more, accurately represented in a game. And it's like, well, it's a game. Like, you only have to listen to the radio station on GTA 5 and see that hear that they, touch on so many different aspects of,
you know what you're getting yourself into when you buy that.
Yeah, modern America.
Well, that's what I was about to say. If they folded to make it more friendly to women because there's backlash, wouldn't people who are victims of violent crime also go, oh, GTA, it's portraying violent crime, I don't like it. And then,
That's the whole
all of a
argument,
sudden
man,
you've got nothing.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to justify it. You can say whatever you want. If you can't justify it, though, or, give evidence or whatever, then I guess it doesn't mean shit. Otherwise, you could just say whatever the hell you want. But if you say something and you justify it with evidence or sources or whatever, then, good on you.
I mean,
then you've got that's a valid opinion then.
If I go to the airport and I pick up a 747 and due to my own inability, I accidentally crash into a skyscraper, I mean, am I inciting some sort of terrorism or anything like that? Like, it's...
Oh, man. I'm gonna, just...
What's wrong, man?
From here on in, just wear a mask.
Yeah. Well, that's why in Grand Theft Auto 3, there was the plane you could get at the airfield. The wings were cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris is apparently doing some funky shit, trying to find some sort of way to accurately represent what we're talking about. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that accurately
It's just
represents
hiding my face after that one.
In what
Where'd
way,
he go?
What did I say that enabled you to go, you know what, I think a dog face would accurately describe what Captain's speaking about?
No.
But speaking of also
terrorists and dogs, they go hand in hand.
But also speaking of purposefully bashing games, right before Grand Theft Auto 5 was released, there was obviously no reviews or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But then a few people broke that rule or whatever, the embargo, whatever it is, and then just purely out of spite, we're giving it 5 out of 10s and 6 out of 10s, just basically because they could, and everyone was freaking out sort of thing, because no one had the game, and then everyone's reading these shit reviews saying, more of the same, blah, 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 graphics are the same, all this sort of crap. And everyone was freaking out and they didn't know what to do. But obviously everyone's going to get it.
And that's a good
point. And it was fantastic.
Yeah. And that's a good point though, because I've found for the majority of cases that, obviously a lot of yearly franchises come out around this point, and there are obviously iterations of the same kind of franchise. And it's like, well, okay, you look at NBA 2K14 and we touched on it last week, how you can have iterations of something that, technically has to still stay the same because it's operating within certain rules, and improve upon that with different control mechanisms or, or presentation or things like that. You're starting to see a lot of reviews come around going, oh, it's a bit more of the same. We've seen this before, and there've been limited amount of upgrades or improvements on this game. When on some of these franchises you're coming to the end of the current gen and they're just at the ceiling of what they can do. And it's like, well, let's take a look at next gen NBA 2K14 and go, oh, it's more of the same as well. But it's like, well, no, you've got nothing to compare it to because this is the first version of this game. And apart from presentation, which on typically NBA 2K14 looked immaculate, that sets the benchmark there. But in the case of Batman, you've got a swing of one review site going 6 out of 10 and rating it fair. You've got another website that's rating it 8 out of 10 and great. and a few sort of ones in between. And I just didn't get that swing between 6 and 8 because in the grand scheme of things, that's a fairly big differential for a game that was, from an Arkham City point of view, was a huge leap and was, you know, fantastic. And changing studios from Rocksteady to WB Montreal, it was kind of like they knew not to fuck with a formula that clearly worked and was awesome. And yet that's the one biggest thing that people are clamoring onto. It's like, oh, you know, it's more of the same. It's more of the same. The
I said that
environment is a lot
the
bigger.
There have been huge flops where they've messed with the formula.
Yeah.
Like, so...
And for Batman, the biggest formula was don't screw with the combat system. If you're going to put in any sort of little improvements, it might be to the world, which they have, because it's obviously a larger surface area now. You've got a lot more of Arkham City to explore. The storyline, from what I've read and from what I've seen on different reviews, has been it's a really good storyline. I mean, I'm only probably an hour or two into the game at the moment. But the storyline's there, so that's an improvement. And yet, you know, you get these reviewers that's come back to this thing of like it's not a big enough of a leap from 1 year or one version of it to the next. And it's like, well, if we're going to be that sort of blanket, apply the same level of blanket criticism to these games that are just iterations year on year. I mean, let's do the same with, you know, Call of Duty and Ghosts and Black Ops 2 and everything that came before that, Battlefield 3. I mean, we said a couple of weeks ago that Battlefield 4 is basically Battlefield 3.1, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, and because the beta was not exactly what the finished game is.
Well, yeah.
Like the graphics were toned down. A lot of the stuff was basically limited to what the third one was. And I guess that's kind of to keep that bit of surprise and make it feel fresh and brand new on the day.
But I mean, if you apply the same elements to any game that you know, gets revamped year on year or 2 year cycle, depending on what game it is, if the improvements are graphical, then that's a tick. If the improvements are you know, not messing with the formula, then that's a tick as well. The combat system was flawless in Arkham City, and they didn't mess with that. The boss battles are a bit more challenging, apparently. Sorry?
They did mess with it?
No, they didn't. No, so because they didn't mess with it, that's a tick for me. You know, and that's what, you know, thankfully a lot of people, that's the one thing that they are holding on to. But the one thing that they're I suppose leveling criticism at is that it wasn't the jump that it was from Arkham Asylum to Arkham City. The same jump from City to Origins isn't the same. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, automatically, let's just not so much pan it, because there are a lot of people out there saying this is a really, really good game, but it's disappointing because they haven't added a whole lot of stuff to it that they did from previous versions. So
I guess it's a bit hard to keep adding stuff without making it go too far.
Exactly, yeah. And that's all that I'm coming back to. Because, I mean, like I said, like November and, you know, that whole launch window for all these franchises that you wait year in, year out for, you know, Ghosts is technically the same thing. It's like the premise is the same, you know, the storyline. We don't know what, you know, all the ins and outs of the story are going to be. But at the end of the day, you're still running around, you know, shooting people. And if their additions are in the same way that, you know, Batman and other different franchises where they've just tacked on little bits of, you know, useful stuff to the next version of that, then, I mean, you won't find an 8 review, I don't think, for Call of Duty Ghosts. You'll probably see it in the, you know, upwards of 8s and 9s. You probably won't get 10s because, I mean...
Hey, we don't know yet.
We don't know yet, but I mean, if we're talking about like historically, then who knows?
Hey, everything about, like, they're formulaic to the point where they know exactly what they're doing and it's working. So we'll see how long they can last it, or how long it'll last. So
it just annoyed me because the sphere of influence for a lot of these game review sites, you know, can impact the future of a studio. If I was to give you an exam and give you 6 out of 10 out of it, you probably wouldn't feel too great about yourself.
I wouldn't.
Well, I guess it depends how much.
But then a different teacher sees that same exam and gives you 8 out of 10. You're like, nah, I've done a pretty good job here. It was just that disparity that I just didn't see, and for it to be leveled on fairly trivial reasons.
Well, that's where the varying comes in. If they're following like a certain rubric where if it meets certain criteria, then that gets a score. But if it's just an opinion of their own where they kind of make up their own criteria that it has to meet, I guess that's where the difference in scores comes to. Whereas if they're all following the same sort of criteria, then yeah.
I think you've got to read, what the person is. Are they a critic for those type of games? Because sometimes there are people that are like, it says down the bottom, Sims player. And if they're reviewing Call of Duty Ghosts, they're not going to have the same. The games are totally different.
Yeah. Like their expertise lies in a different area, and they might not be. I mean, sure, they'll be able to see things that another person might not be able to see, or just completely disregards because they know it's, I suppose, a feature of a particular game or something like that.
Yeah.
But
I think even when
we mentioned the opinions, and what about if their opinion really affects a game like GTA, and you should be expecting something pretty much like down the lines of, okay, misogynistic like content, because it's GTA, for fuck's sake. It's this crazy ass game where you can do whatever the fuck you want, and we're not playing these games to sit there and go oh hey, let's have a game where we treat our co-workers really well, and we bring a box of donuts to the office every morning. Not what we're playing. If you bringing in your opinion is completely valid, and it's that's fine. I just don't think that bringing down the score because of something well, that offended me. Did that offend you? It's it offended me to this point where I'm gonna drop at a point because of just that. But otherwise the rest of the game is fucking brilliant. I'm that's kind of slack.
Yeah, I can understand those things
about the game. If it was glitchy as fuck, it's okay, this is fucked up. I can't play this, and it's also really rude to women. I'm okay, fine, shit on it, go nuts. But if something's just really good, your opinion should be noted in the review, but it shouldn't lose points for that unless it's something that's just completely offensive and over the top and ridiculously stupid, where it's all the people you kill are women. I'd be okay, that's really fucked up.
But I guess if she was reviewing it for her following, which was for women or something, that's a valid review.
Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. But this is for a gaming site, right? For everyone.
Well, I'm not really sure which one we're talking about, but yeah, if it was just for a gaming site, it was.
You don't need to go too far to know what, if you were to type in a search. And I mean, there's me saying I'm slightly pissed off at it because if I'm applying it purely to the Batman side of things, then that's one thing. But I mean, the other massive hater community, decides to take that one step further, and just purely on the basis of the GTA review, started an online petition to have this person fired from their job, purely based on, and then you've got, and that's the other demographic which just take it ridiculously far, and this is their way of trying to get it.
But more so to that is, on Good Game last week or this week, whatever, they were talking about game reviews and everything, and how a lot of reviewers actually hate having to give a score at the end because there's so much pressure. They just want to talk about the game, talk about the aspects, good, bad, whatever. But then when it comes to a score at the end, they absolutely hate it because, who likes scoring something, I guess. But I guess people want to glance at a page, scroll right to the bottom, see 8 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, and see what they want to see, sort of thing, because that's what they want. They want it condensed in a number. So, I think that's
Yeah.
another reason why.
And they want to have their purchase validated as well.
Yeah.
Exactly,
I
yeah.
guess
You want to feel good
people
about a
have-
game. So if you see it gets 10 out of 10, you're like, yes, I'm hyped now. I want to buy this game. Where if it gets 3 out of 10, it's like, yeah, not going to buy this.
Probably not. Yeah.
I felt
I
that way
guess
about
people
Metal
have
Gear
their,
Rising.
you know,
Sorry, mate.
I was just going to say, I guess people have, you know, their favorite reviewer or something where they feel there's a bit of a connection, like, oh, they like the games I like. So you can get a bit lazy and you'll just see a score. And if you don't read the review, it might be that one time that they actually had a different opinion to what they might say it's 10 out of 10, it's fantastic, but you might not like that.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where people get a bit angry.
But do you see what I'm saying though? Like the you know, if you were to take a Metacritic score or I suppose any of the top 5 game review websites and see that, let's just say a lot, it's either 10, 10, 10, 10, 9 and 9, and then for another one to come in and go 8 or the equivalent of 8 for a game that's only worth an 8 comes in at 6, it's kind of like, you know, you've got to think that there are some things at play that might not necessarily be entirely to do with the actual game itself, or whether or not there's a personal agenda, or if it's, you know, whether or not you know you've been hassled by that particular studio before, or you bought a game from that studio before and you're completely jaded by it, or.
Well, I guess EA's the best example for that. They have quite a bad online. I guess you'd say online history of game releases. Their ones seem to fluctuate quite wildly, where people
like
hate it or people love it.
Yeah, when SimCity was released, everyone was just out of spite was giving it 0 out of 10, like, oh, this game's crap, 0 out of 10, because we can't play it. It's like, well, that's just stupid. Like, I understand you're pissed off, and I was pissed off as well, but I'm not going to give the game 0 out of 10. Obviously, that's not a reflection of the game because I can't play it. Obviously, you just have to, you know,
What
wait.
would you give it now, though?
Oh, the game was pretty shit, actually. Not 0 out of 10. I was so looking forward to that, and I logged in, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is pretty good. Then I was like, wait, this map is tiny. The traffic system is broken as shit. Like, nothing on it fucking works, and I was just like, yeah, I really wish I didn't buy this game now. And I haven't played it since. I've done, like, a few hours here after a few patches, tried it again. And I really
See,
don't like it.
that was the game where they messed with the basics. Instead of it being more of a single-player game, they tried to make it multiplayer, which really pissed people off because you have to rely on other people to make your city grow. And,
So, yeah, if their town is constantly on fire...
You're relying on
fire
some
trucks
other
are
player, and they just decide they want to fuck you over. It's just, you know, a nightmare.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good idea in theory, but not really. It didn't work.
Yeah, the idea was awesome, but...
In theory, communism
works,
yeah.
In Soviet Russia, communism finds you. Oh God.
Did he walk all the way to blow his nose?
That's polite.
That was very polite of you, thank you.
It was, yes. Chris actually had a pretty good topic idea, actually, and I guess it sort of backs onto what we've just been talking about and the whole Total Biscuit thing.
Yes.
And
What's
how
a Total Biscuit?
Total Biscuit is he's a fairly prominent YouTuber, isn't he? He's
Yep.
Yep.
million
He's
plus
got quite
subs.
a lot of followers.
So
I
he's
just
got-
looked at Ben's like little video screen thing, and when I said, "What's a Total Biscuit?" he's just like,
No, I laugh.
"How do you not
Eye
know?
roll.
Do you not know who he is?"
Faith
I
Palm.
laugh because it was funny,
What are you
but
doing here?
yes, everyone should know who he is.
To you, Benny.
I didn't roll my eyes here. I laughed because it was funny.
You rolled your
Say, like,
eyes.
God.
How do you
Yeah,
not
no,
I've
know?
got video
Total
proof.
Biscuit
We'll
is-
have to go back.
I'm going to look back at that footage and see if I did roll my eyes.
Look,
And
it's like, it's the reaction. The reaction just like, You're like shocked.
Really? I was just
Yeah,
laughing. It was funny.
yeah.
Just the way you said, like, what's a total biscuit? Like, not who is it? It's
It's not half
What
a
is it?
biscuit. It's a total biscuit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Total biscuit.
We weren't talking
cynical
about
Brit.
any sort of Arnott's products or anything like that. Yeah. The show isn't sponsored by Arnott's, by the way.
Tim Tams.
TimTamSlam.com.au. The no, basically it was what was the game again? Castro, Gary's Choice or something.
It was day one, Gary's incident, and they let him do a review on it, and then they didn't like his review, so they told YouTube he was in breach of copyright, I think it was.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And he had to take the video down, which then caused a massive backlash from his fans and other people.
Yeah.
I think he's one person you don't really want to piss off because he'll hammer you in a real articulate sort of way,
Yeah.
which he did. So that was pretty dumb.
His follow-up video
Wait,
was
so
very.
you got his video taken down because
Yeah.
they didn't like his review.
Yeah,
Well,
so they,
that's
they
the
flagged
thing
it as
that-
copyright.
Yeah.
What?
There might have been something else, but that's how, everyone read into it, that it was because he was one of the only people that gave it a bad review.
What game was it again? Because when you mentioned it before, I've never heard of it.
It's called Day One, Gary's Incident.
Alright.
So basically, his follow-up video was basically an email train of the communication that had transpired between the two, and how it was, how you could possibly misinterpret him being sent a review code to do this game, and then it was something like they were trying to cite reasons of non-profitability from review or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I mean, I might try and put the description down below just to take you to the video. But it was other people who had done similar reviews with not as big a sphere of influence as what he has, but certainly videos that had thousands upon thousands of views, but were still online and on YouTube to this day, and yet his one, because he is the biggest, I suppose, contributor or reviewer of this particular one, they went, you know what, let's try and find some sort of antiquated reason or completely incorrect reason for bringing this video down, and it was flagged and brought
It's
down.
a funny, because I got to double check it, so don't quote me on it. But I don't think actually technically what he does is a review. It's just like a first impression sort of thing, and something between, again, I'm not sure, but it's something between a review and a first impression and monetizing a YouTube channel where it's kind of like a grey area, which is kind of what they were basing it on. That's why it was all blown up as well. So it's like, well, it's not a review, it's a first impression and all this other bullshit, but that's just something else you kind of have to look at, but I don't know. I could be completely wrong. So please don't make a video about me.
There probably was a simple explanation, but now it's just gone through the Chinese whispers of the community and blown up into this
racist.
huge...
But I mean...
Nothing wrong with whispers of the Chinese variety, you fucking racist.
But the stuff which was posted afterwards as well, like where people did a bit of investigating, where they kind of, that studio kind of seemed to be like another studio which resembled kind of like that whole world, or what was it, War Z game, where they were making, even on like other websites where you could buy the game, that Day One Gary's Incident game, there was all these fake accounts leaving really good reviews and high marks and this sort of stuff, where it was accounts which had been made like a few hours earlier, and then basically just copy and pasting reviews, but just like a few words here and there changed. So that was just like ultra dodgy. So everyone's just like, you know what, fuck that studio.
And the other thing was he detailed the Kickstarter campaign where the initial donation of $10,000 just happened to be from inside the company or something. It's like, whoa, 10 grand, cheers. Yeah. I can't remember the amount,
Well, that's
but
what
it was funny.
I was mentioning to you before. I think it's possibly an elaborate marketing trick that people seem to be doing at the moment, finding something to get people outraged, to get the name out there instead of advertising.
But if the game's broke as fuck, then you know it's one thing to promote a product which you know hasn't been getting the exposure it deserves or something, but it's another thing entirely to promote a game that is, you know, unbelievably awful, and you want people to find that out for themselves, and trying to get it out there that way. I mean,
did you guys remember what happened with Kane and Lynch when that game came out? You guys remember the game, Kane and Lynch, Dead Men? And well, I'm not. I won't say the site unless you have to censor me or anything. But the thing is, like, and it's not hard to find out who did this or anything. But I just remember it was huge at the time. But because basically the site was promoting the game like as their background, and like they kept running ads of the game all the time. Before you could watch a review of something else, you'd watch an ad of Ken Lynch. And when the game actually came out and they made a review, one of the guys who worked for him filmed the review, did it, put it up, and was fired like a couple days later because the review was a negative review for a game that they've been promoting for quite a long time, and there was just a fucking big shitstorm kicked up, you know, like, and the game was, you know, I don't think it was the best. It wasn't groundbreaking at all, but it was just like, it does what it kind of sets out to do, I suppose. But because it was from the makers of Hitman, wasn't it? And Hitman's brilliant, man. I fucking love Hitman. But
I mean, it's one thing for a review site to do that, and I kind of, you know, if that's their prerogative to promote a game which they will later pan, I mean, that doesn't sound like a fantastic strategy to me. But then you've got it from the studio side of things, where you will place a embargo on any sort of reviews up until, you know, 2 days later after the game's actually been launched, and then it's kind of like, oh, we just have turned out a really shit game, but our embargo didn't actually allow you to do that. So kind of entrapment on the user to get you to buy the game before any sort of mainstream media has got a hold of it and go, you know what, guys, if we'd have reviewed this game prior to it being released, we could have saved you $40, $60 kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
like Aliens, Colonel Marines.
that was the one I was referring to.
Oh, was I not supposed to say that? Sorry.
No,
Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that.
I mentioned it in a previous video about. I think it might have been the very first podcast. I can't remember, but yeah, I did name it because it was
steaming
pretty.
pile of shite.
Yeah. I remember seeing that game previewed at EB Expo last year.
How did it look?
Well, at the time, I mean, if you were just working on in development footage, it looked okay, you know, and everyone got taken in, you know, and whether or not the footage you were seeing was,
you got to play it?
No, it was basically coming soon, but it was just showcasing what was coming, because there was the whole thing about, like, you know, what are we actually seeing? Are we seeing it on PC specs, and it was going to be significantly toned down for the Xbox and PS4 3. So yeah, I mean, just underhanded bullshit that really doesn't do any favors for studios.
Well, speaking of toned down specs, did you hear that there could be a difference between the PS4 and the Xbox for Call of Duty?
Yeah, it was something that we touched on before. Ben mentioned it, and yeah, 720p for the Xbox One and 1080p for the PS4. I didn't know whether or not it was because Microsoft haven't confirmed or denied. They just come out with a blanket thing saying it'll look great, don't worry. Okay, take my money, please. Here you go. Here is a check. Here is a blank check. Write any amount of money on it, and I will pay it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether or not it's, you know, some sort of patch that needs to happen to get it up to spec. Because I would have thought that would have been one of the major draw cards of this whole next gen, being able to have, a lot of, if not all titles, running at a frame rate and a resolution that warrants upgrading from a 360 to a 1 or a PS3 to a 4. I don't know.
And you would have thought that they would make sure that they're even. I mean, you don't want something like that being a selling feature just before your console goes on sale.
I mean, it's. I'd like to know what build I was seeing when we were playing the other week at the expo, and whether or not that was a PC rig in a cabinet underneath the thing with an Xbox controller.
Yeah, just using the Xbox controller.
Yeah,
it's a bit hard to tell when it's only a screen and a controller.
What sort of screen was it? Was it a 120 hertz screen?
I don't.
Or you're
know.
not sure?
It was the
If
latest.
it was, it probably would have been a PC.
Well, inside the quote-unquote show bag that you got given wasn't anywhere near as good as the Black Ops 2 from the previous year.
No.
Inside
It's a bit of a downgrade.
Well, I've got it right here. Yeah. I'll grab it. It was
like a sticker or something. Because I think last time we got
it's a fucking
dog
magazine that
tags
I could have get anywhere else, and a brochure on the I think it was LG. Was it an LG product?
I think the screen might have been LG actually.
LG, and a pamphlet
But
saying
nothing on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It was.
This is the pamphlet of the monitor you've just been playing this game on. Check it out. It's like, well, that went straight in the bin. But yeah, it's a little bit concerning, but
Because you'd be playing on a big screen as well, so that'd come down to something that you would choose.
but I mean,
I guess for people who play on a small screen, doesn't come that much into it. It's still going to be pretty similar, but once you start getting on the bigger screens, it makes a big difference.
yeah. I mean, it's good from a YouTube point of view, being able to capture at 1080p and scale down for 720 in terms of file size, and obviously going down doesn't detrimentally affect it too much. But yeah, natively, I mean, that's gonna suck hardcore if something's not done about that. Because apparently from a graphical point of view, I think the memory split and the clock speed, I think, of the graphics card is one of the things that is slightly better. And again, please don't quote me on this. It's slightly better than the PS4. Something to do with clock speed and the way that the memory is split is done in a more advantageous way on the One versus the PS4. If what I read is to be believed.
I'm surprised Ben's not like giving me shit about that.
What's that?
The PS4 being better.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because
Now that you mentioned it,
yeah, well,
I will get up your ass for that.
I said to Gav on Wednesday, after a few beers, I might add.
Yeah.
If I said
Thanks for the invite,
the
guys.
PlayStation.
Hey, we'll get to that.
No,
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a second. Don't worry. I said the PlayStation P is good as it wants to be, but if I'm there playing it by myself and you guys have got Xboxes, then there's no point for me getting a PlayStation sort of thing. So I said, which I'm kind of regretting it now, if I were to get a console, it'd be an Xbox. But yeah, now all this other
Hang in there.
tomfoolery is out.
Hang in there, Ben. Like, stay strong. Like, stay PS4. Like, we need a PS4 person on the panel. You know?
you just don't want him to be on your team.
Yeah, I'm never playing against
You want me on your team. You want me on your team, all right?
I'm actually
You
quite
need me on
comfortable
that wall.
with you not-
Yeah.
You want me on that wall.
I can just see it now. Ron's playing and it says Ben's signed in. Just Ron is offline.
What is up?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I sign in. Hey, Ron is offline.
Ron is offline. Ron is in a pre-game lobby. Ignoring your contact
That's
request.
even if I like just logged in. If I just started playing, and I saw you come on, fuck it. Until you get off.
Oh, good. So I'll get one just to grief you then.
Yeah.
Just keep it online all the time.
Yeah, and just never switch it off.
Hey dude, I see you're online. It's like, nah, I'm on holiday at the moment. I'm in the UK. I just left my console on just to troll you.
That'd suck.
Speaking of events then, PAX 2014 was announced this week.
Any public tickets are available?
Don't think they basically tell you to follow Facebook and Twitter just to keep you in the loop for when tickets are available. But it's in
So
it's
that
basically
means
in a
it's
year
sold
from now,
out already.
end of October to the beginning of November.
Is it in Melbourne again or Sydney?
It's in Melbourne. It's at a bigger venue, purely based on the success of this year. So yeah, I think I'm
keen to
trying to
fly down.
find all the excuses in the world to get down to Melbourne for the end of October, because I think that'd be a pretty good little
End
little
of October.
showcase.
Well, like all of us.
Exam period.
That'd be pretty awesome.
If we could swing a road trip, then that'd be awesome. Not so much a road trip. Fuck it, I'm going to fly.
We can go in my car. Everyone will
No,
be
that'd be
deaf.
cool.
Oh God, can you imagine that? We do like an on the road podcast with Ron, with Chris driving.
Yeah. Chris, you don't even have back seats, so we'll be like on the fucking floor.
I'll put some in. I'll get some more.
Well, the first part of the video would
Fucking
be
race cars.
the first part of the video would be us three going into hospital, have our legs removed just to fit into the back seat, and then the next part would be our therapy in learning to walk again with prosthetic limbs at the other end of when we get to Melbourne. Yeah, but I mean, apparently the biggest complaint last year was venue size. But hey, if that's getting fixed, obviously it means it's going to be increased amount of people again. But this goes back to what I was saying the other week about how we get kind of forgotten about in terms of gaming expos and whatnot, because technically this is only the second or third kind of big thing that we get each year. So.
And an actual legit one as well.
Actual legit one as well. So hopefully I'll be there. Come and say hi if I'm any more well known than I am right now. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see if we can do the hangout on the mobile phone from different booths
Yeah.
or something.
That'd be cool. We have to wait in different lines and update each other.
You'll find me at the Logitech booth. I mean,
Be 3 hours long and it'll just be us standing in line.
well,
I can see you guys going like, hey, where...
Hey?
Oh,
He froze at the wrong.
Coming out.
He froze at the complete wrong time.
Yeah, I froze there for that was weird. I was just staring at that going, oh, that's weird. That's so odd.
I mean,
But
Logitech
yeah,
had the best
and-
promo girls, I reckon, at EB Expo. Shout out to the Expo. Shout out to the promo girls from
shout out to
Logitech.
the promos.
Guest for
Did
next
you know
week.
them?
Guess for next week. Yeah.
Wait, do you know them? Or not?
What?
Do you know them?
No.
No, they were quite professional and they wouldn't talk to us.
Yeah. And I think the one person that did approach us was I think an actual representative of Logitech asking us how we were, and I was like, oh God,
Go away.
can't you just bring the blonde over that was
Yeah,
using a mouse?
we don't want to talk to you. We want to talk to the other people.
Yeah, we want to talk to
I
someone
don't, I
who
don't
has
care
no
if they have no
affiliation
idea what the product is.
or a knowledge of product. Yeah.
Were they really like that? They wouldn't know what they were trying to promote or sell.
Oh, I'm sure they've been given
Do any
the
of them?
lowdown, but most of them are just people that look good.
Fair enough.
Like, the car models or basically anyone
You
who's
come
selling
with the
stuff.
car. Oh, you.
Yeah, they kind of get briefed. It's like, right, 0 to 60 in. And you'd be like, 17 seconds? It's like, really? This Ferrari goes from 0
Close
to 60
enough.
in 17 seconds? Yeah.
You got the job.
You've got the job.
Just shut your mouth. I'm not paying you to talk. Just be quiet.
I don't pay you to talk.
Shout out. Let's have a look at some more topics, shall we? Where did my list go? Chris, what was on your list, man? You had a couple of good ones in there.
I had... Oh, there's quite a
I'll
few
let
things.
you. I'll let you drive for the next part.
All right.
Oh, hey.
Don't
bloody
crash
yeah.
this show. You're
Drive
driving.
us into the ground. I'm kidding.
That's so slack.
I had absolute confidence. No, this shit's gonna. I saw the list. It's shit's gonna get real.
It was
really good.
extensive. I've got to say.
Everybody thought I was the asshole. The true asshole is actually Ben.
Really? All right, cool.
Really?
He's like
You're
the
surprised?
villain in the series. Takes him 6 series in.
Surprise!
It was me all along.
One of the things I was going to talk about is the League of Legends. Now, I don't know if you guys know about this, but it's
Yes.
apparently pretty big as an e-sport.
I've never
Wait, slow
heard
down. What?
Legends.
I know there's a guy who's on like $1 million a year when you take into account.
Yeah, one of the
That is
star
insane.
players is earning almost $1 million a year in merchandising and publicity, which
That's pretty bonkers.
for a computer game, it's quite amazing.
It's really intense. Like, have you guys ever played it?
Never.
I have.
No. It's a lot of fun. It's fucking hard though. So I'm not very good at those sort of games. Can't remember what the term is, but it's
Can you
really
describe what it's
intense. You're 2 teams. One team at the bottom of the map, one team at the top. Basically, you've got to push your team forward and destroy their base, sort of thing. But like, there's minions moving up and down, sort of thing, and there's I can't even remember how many per team. What, 5 per team?
I think there's 5
Some
or
League of
6.
Legends guy's going to go ape shit at me.
Well,
It's
let's
gonna
let's
destroy.
let's address that. If there are any League of Legends like pro, semi-pro people that want to be on the show to maybe give us a bit more of an insight, then get in touch, because it'd be. I mean, when you see the like the top 5 plays of the week in relation to League of Legends and stuff, I'm not going to lie, it looks
shit.
like it's all the same. It's all the same stuff to me. I mean, and yet you've got these guys taking spare pairs of underpants because they've just practically jizzed themselves to death because they've taken out something, so monstrous, and yet I'm standing there going, okay, what just happened?
Yeah.
And like the shoutcast has gone absolutely bonkers. And the audience in the background is just like, oh my god, fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, it is a game that can be quite quick, and tactics and teamwork does come into it. So I can see where the element of the sport comes in.
Yeah.
Because you've got to, hold your position to help the others, and or know when to push forward to
That's
not
the thing.
go into an ambush. And
You can't push
it
too
all
early.
takes, sometimes it's down to that millimeter of timing. You just, it was too late, and all of a sudden you're now the weakest spot, and you let them get through. So
And if you let your teammate die, you will never ever hear the end of it. You will just get flamed to oblivion. You got to have a tough skin.
Wow.
Wait, so it's kind of like playing COD, right, on Xbox?
Way worse.
Way worse.
Oh yeah.
It's
a bit more.
It's beneficial to not have a mum to play these games, because it sounds like
No, you don't need to know anyone. Just you. It's just a lot better that way.
Yeah. Even your own team gets in on it.
But it's good fun. Like, I was hooked for like a week, and then just by like the 8th day, for some reason, it's completely dropped off, and I just had no interest in it. But it's like a lot of fun.
You could be on $1 million a year.
Oh, I was dreadful at it. Dreadful.
Hey man, you were sitting on a gold mine.
that'd
You
be
let
good.
it slip.
That'd be a good YouTube series. It's like Road to $1 million.
Oh, well,
like,
yeah.
currently
if
I'm on
you could
0.
pull it off.
Currently I'm on 0 and I'm not getting paid to play, but we'll get there. Don't worry.
You have a total after every week. Week 1, lost money.
Yeah.
Well, it's a free game to get, so I know a 5th guy that is really good at it. So
Well, that's
as
what
far
I
as I
was
know,
about.
teams are in 5. We could get a game and record it or some shit and just see how bad we are and whatever.
For a free game, it is massive, and people
But it is
actually
free,
earn
but it's not.
massive amounts of dollars.
There's
So
been
it's one of those
stories.
things, how the marketing works and everything.
You got to buy all the characters and all that sort of stuff. So you think it's free, but really it's not.
You only have to go to Twitch and see the amount of active channels that stream LOL at at any point in time. They've got thousands of viewers. Like it's hard to kind of differentiate yourself unless you are able to mesh a personality with your gameplay. But that doesn't sound like the kind of game that you can really do that. You can't tell jokes whilst you're playing League of Legends and sort of go, oh yeah, I'll bring people in with the game and then make them stay because I'm just a funny guy when I play this game.
No. If you lose it, it doesn't matter how funny you are.
Yeah,
everyone is going to turn against you.
I can't imagine there's a massive window for people to get in to League of Legends just to be actively trolling people. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. I don't know.
I'm sure there probably is, but they won't last very long in the game.
Yeah, that's it. Hey guys,
from memory,
I just dropped a hand grenade here. What should I do with it?
From memory, when you start off, you do like a bunch of practice games, and that community is really helpful. Like they'll give you tips, and like if you stuff something up, they won't go ballistic. And that was really good. That's like, oh, well, what's everyone talking about? Like these guys are really nice. But then when you leave that and then go to like a ranked game, I think it's a ranked game, or just like the main sort of game, just like the slightest thing you stuff up, they just go ape shit, even though you're like fresh out of the practice games.
I gotta check this shit out, man. That sounds hilarious.
It's good fun though. It's good fun, but the games go for about half an hour and they're just like really intense, and the grind is pretty heavy too.
Is it comparable to Warcraft in terms of the the passion level?
Spear off of
Warcraft. Kind of like, well, I don't think it technically is, but Dota 2 is.
But part of the hero system.
Yeah,
and then they
all the
decided
characters
it was just going to be that one character, and everyone on the team has their own one character to play.
I'll never forget the when I moved into like when I first sort of went out alone and lived with housemates near to my work. I thought, okay, let's check out this housemate kind of thing, and he was a good bloke, and he was into games as well, but it was in his, like, at the time he was in his late 40s, now he's in his probably early 50s, but he was a huge Warcraft fan.
It's massive. Yeah.
It was kind of like, it was the very first weekend. I've just moved in, there was boxes in my room and everything, but I had something to get to, I had a birthday to get to that night. And I came home and I thought, oh God, the impression I must be giving this guy of, oh great, this guy's just moved in. He's an absolute party animal coming in at 3 a.m. And he was there on his couch. Like he hadn't moved from the second that I'd left the house at probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Here's me stumbling in a sort of semi-state of coherence at like 3 or something in the morning. And he's there just going, okay, move forward in 3, 2, 1. Okay, and I come in, he's like waves to me, hey mate, how are you? Yeah. I was like, wow, this guy's hardcore.
Like, collapse, blow or cooldowns, blah, 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 blah,
yeah,
blah.
More dots.
Okay,
well, speaking of World of Warcraft, did you hear that they successfully sued someone who made a bot making program to... I don't know if you guys have played World of Warcraft, but you've got to grind to get money and materials and weapons and stuff. Mm-hmm. So people got very heavily into making bots to do it for them. And
because they have lives, or
success. Yeah, instead of doing it for hours by yourself, why not do it while you're asleep?
What I'm picturing is some sort of like dipping, or is it it's drinking the water?
It is exactly like that.
Is that create character, enter?
Yes.
Enter.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. That was nothing new. I remember because I used to play that. You'd be because they just go farm materials or whatever, these bots. So it was just at a computer who was like multi-accounting or something, and they just set up a script where they run around. They knew all the spawn points for like flowers or whatever, like plants. And they'd go harvest them, and then you'd see them running around. You'd talk to them, and they'd never reply or anything like that. But you just see them there all the time, and not do anything, So I'm guessing they must have got pretty sick of it, they've been doing that since like vanilla WoW. So
because people were actually doing it to get items to sell for real money, So it started becoming a big problem. But they successfully sued the guy that created one of the programs. And he's now asking the people that used his program to pay for his
Oh, wow.
court case.
Yeah.
To the tune of $7 million, I think.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. Good luck.
You know, the community might be supportive of like, oh, thanks for that, mate. The currency you made me was unbelievable. Really good. Had really good oh, what's that? You want $7,000? Yeah, I'm washing my hair that day, so can't give it to you like now or ever. Cheers.
I'm cleaning my pelican's teeth.
Yeah. Puts on cloak of invisibility. If you can't find me, don't have to pay the guy.
Yeah. But that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
The other thing that I heard about, which was a bit of a trap for people, I'm not sure if any of you are inclined to obtain movies or music without paying for it.
What?
But,
What? No.
who would do that? Never.
No, nobody does that. That's illegal.
Exactly.
What do you take us for? Hey, come on.
There was a website, I'm not sure if you may have stumbled across it, called Uploader Talk. And it was just a forum where people who were inclined to obtain things without paying for it would congregate and talk and forums and stuff. And apparently it was a big trap. The whole thing was to get people's information for anti-piracy companies.
I heard that's
And
how
they
clever
just
is that, hey?
Yeah. So
Well,
after
that's why I was
years of
entrapment, though.
people-
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work, but it's
Taking out an ad in the Sydney Morning Herald going, free drugs.
Yeah.
Come to
Yeah,
123
I
Fake
was gonna
Street.
say, it's like the free boat thing in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're dumb enough to fall for it, you deserve to get your ass kicked kind of
Yeah.
thing. But like, the entrapment's bullshit. If a copy's undercover, this is in real life now as well. This is in RL. God, why did I say that? Anyway, hey, Ben got it. Entrapment's actually bullshit. If a cop is undercover and they have to infiltrate like some kind of gang or something like that.
They have to answer honestly.
No, if one of them goes
think
like, "Are
that's
you a
me.
cop?" If they ask him if he's a cop, he can just say, "No, shit, no, I'm not a cop."
Yeah,
like,
he doesn't have to say he's a cop.
Yeah,
That was just like such... Yeah, that was just like a movie
Hollywood
urban legend where like,
movie
oh, if I
stuff.
ask you, you have to say yes. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I don't.
Yeah, otherwise, like the whole fucking the whole undercover operation's just been a big massive waste. It's like, oh, you asked the question, shit, you got me. I am a cop. Fuck.
We've
Kill
been
me
doing it
now.
for 3 years, and you have to ask now. No.
Are you wearing a wire? Nope. No, I'm not. Then what's the wire coming out of your wrist?
Loose thread.
That's my pacemaker. Trust me, it's external mounted pacemaker. Let's talk about some movie shit, shall we?
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Previews for Bad Grandpa.
That looks good, hey.
Oh,
For,
enjoy
like
yourself.
for a Jackass movie.
Yeah. I mean, I had seen sort of like billboards and whatnot on various different websites, and then I actually watched the preview last night, and I didn't know what the premise of it was, and I just thought it was Johnny Knoxville like starring in a movie. I didn't realize it did have that, Jackass, I suppose, filming style to it.
Oh, did you think it was a real movie starring him? I forget what the name
With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
With Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, hey, that movie was a classic.
Classic pile of
No,
shit,
the
or-
one where he was in the Special Olympics or something.
I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
Wasn't it, Johnny?
Yeah, where he...
Wait, was that The Ringer? No, what was that one?
The Ringer,
The Ringer,
yeah.
yeah, that's it.
That movie has like the best line in pretty much all movies. when they're talking about like where they've been, and the guy just goes in the background, where the fuck did we get ice cream? If you haven't seen it, look it up, because it comes out of nowhere, and it's like the funniest shit ever. I was just in tears.
Yeah.
Just go to YouTube and type that in.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did we get ice cream?
That was if that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I built it up way too much now, so don't do it.
disclaimer.
Do it.
Disclaimer. Look it up. If you don't find it funny, don't blame me. Cheers. No, but that kid actor. I mean, I don't know whether or not we'll be seeing him in like 10 years' time in in any other sort of feature film.
Yeah, another Jackass movie.
Yeah, but that
In
kid.
jail, like.
And one of the parts of it, like from the review, I think it was might have been IGN or it might have been another sort of movie review site or something. But they were saying how all hilarity aside, the connection between Grandpa and the kid is actually quite touching, which I thought was kind of funny.
Even though it's completely fake.
Yeah, that's it. Like it makes you believe that
They're
these
that
two,
good at acting.
yeah, like Grandpa's taking like the bottom glass from a champagne tower and falling over the table and wedding cake and shit going everywhere and yeah, I think that'd be quite good to see. And the other one I saw was the new Captain America preview, which
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
considering I kind of bought Captain America sight unseen on Blu-ray and watched it and I thought, yep, that's a pretty good movie. This is actually one I'd probably consider going to the movies to see.
Bought it and you haven't watched it yet.
I hadn't, no.
Oh.
It's not that good.
Well, you didn't really need to watch it for the Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's the whole appeal of Captain America. I just don't like.
Yeah, he's
people
more of a
probably-
character for female viewers.
It's kind of like Hawkeye. I don't give a shit about Hawkeye. I don't give a shit about.
That's why he doesn't have his own movie.
Yeah. Fuck them,
The
right?
question is this: would you go and see a movie about Scarlett Johansson or her character?
Oh, Black Widow.
Yes.
Black Widow, yeah.
Get ready to censor.
Get
Does
ready to
she
say,
get naked?
oh, the superhero things I do to her. Oh god.
And there's the part where you get to go on a rant.
Yeah.
That's why they call him the Flash.
Zing.
Swish.
But they were going on about a breakdown of like just who Ultron was, like to the uninitiated, to the Marvel Universe kind of thing, and the amount of story arcs that like Ultron covers is just amazing.
From the comics.
From the comics, yeah. And like who built him and how many times he sort of regenerated himself and how he infiltrated at one point in time Tony Stark's Iron Man suit to make an AI version of that and how there was another character which was
Now you're getting specific.
yeah, it was like built. There was another character that was built by Ultron and then eventually turned on him and helped the Avengers try and beat him and stuff. But like, it's got that many different story arcs that it could prove difficult in reining all these into one sort of concise movie. But
Well, that does happen with comics because it comes down to, the brand, the artist, the story writer. Everyone has their favorites. The people change, things change, the story arcs change. It just goes ridiculous sometimes.
when I've just bought both, who's watching something?
Man, so I'm watching
Wait.
the ice cream part. The
Oh, good.
hold on.
Again, we've got your undivided attention.
Hold on.
Wait, could you?
Shall we wait?
Oh, come on, where is it? Where's the part?
Pop it up on the screen. Can you pop it up on the screen?
Well, I'm not 100% au fait on the copyright infringement side of things to
Yeah.
other stuff. So
Ron,
Probably
just
not
want to
to.
maybe
I don't
wait a
know.
little bit.
Where is it? Alright, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll watch it later when I
How
can
did
hear
you
it.
find it? I just typed it in. I found it straight away.
Yeah, I typed in the ringer and ice cream is already there. So I was like, oh, okay, there you go. It must be a really funny scene, Ben. You know what? I'll take your word for it. 'Cause it looks hilarious right now. Man, oh darn, Captain Marvel.
no, what I was saying before is I downloaded
Really?
both.
Do we need to put another censorship thing there for you, Ronald?
Huh? Oh, but I didn't say anything too fucked up though. Did I? Nobody has ice cream. Nobody's holding ice cream.
That's the fucking point. But you'll see it. Don't just fucking turn it off and we'll watch it later.
Okay, fine, sorry.
What scene are you watching? It should have been on by now.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
I
just
can't hear it anyway. Sorry, back to the podcast.
Oh, right. Okay, we're doing this, are we? Okay, cool.
Yeah. See, I told you Castro would run it into the ground. Going.
How did this happen?
Castro's fault.
Ever since he put on that kamikaze crash helmet, I'm like, what's he doing that for? Straight into the aircraft carrier flight deck.
Banzai.
Banzai. No, what I was going to say was that I downloaded both the DC Comics and the Marvel apps on iPad and iPhone
We're
and
in
all that.
direct competition.
Well, we're in direct competition. Just to try and sort of re-immerse myself back into that sort of stuff. And but like,
Did you have a favourite beforehand?
well, no, it
DC
wasn't so
or
much
Marvel?
that, but I only really appreciated anything of that sort of comic book fandom purely from an artistic sense. Like nothing to do with storylines or anything like that. Like if I was in King's Comics, obviously you do the detour and you go past the figurines and stuff. It's like, yeah, that's amazing. I'm going to buy that. But then you go to the supermarket-like aisles of comics after comics after comics, and to the relatively uninitiated, trying to get back into it. I mean, there's no real way. And you might have a character that you want to sort of target and go after. But I mean, if you went to the Iron Man section, there's literally 4 shelves full of the Invincible Iron Man, or different permutations of different story arcs that you just don't know where to start, and you don't want to get to the end of it and go, oh, that was kind of shit. So
That's where you have to ask someone for help.
that's right, yeah. But then as a
But only
34-year-old,
if you've got to spare 2 hours to hear what the intricate details of the differences
yeah.
are.
But it's okay though, because he doesn't have to go anywhere because he lives with his mum in the basement. Just kidding. I actually need
that's
your
why you
help. So in the comments below, people, if you get to the point where you're sort of saying to yourself, oh yeah, I've got a good suggestion, put it in the comments below because I want to know about it. I'm partial to Iron Man, kind of Avengers-y, and Batman.
You just got to stick to the basics.
Yeah, or just the
Iron Man,
best story.
Punisher, Deadpool, and I forgot the other guy. The Juggernaut. That's it. Simple.
Wait, not the guy with the I don't know. He's really unknown. Like he's kind of underground, but like he has the claws that come out. I forgot his name. It's like an animal or something.
Wolverine.
Yeah, that
Mole
was it.
person.
What? How is
You
he
get it?
underground?
It's a joke. It was a
Oh,
fucking
right.
joke.
Jesus. Sorry, I haven't plugged in my subtlety meter here that would have picked that up. Sorry. It's usually on my iPhone, but it's
think-
charging at the moment, so sorry.
I think they called it the bus that couldn't slow down.
Billy and the Brontosaurus.
Supposed to give it a name, but no one would possibly like. I love how he keeps on like yelling at him. It's so fucking funny.
What
I
were
mean,
you
what were you
thinking?
thinking?
We've broken Ron.
Oh,
gone.
jeez.
God,
Actually,
he's
on
back.
Wow, we're all talking.
I'm going to have to rename you like Deer in the Headlights because it's just like, you're the only person that freezes. It's like,
Me?
Yeah, it keeps freezing for you for some reason. Well,
Fuck, man.
oh, you were just sitting still there.
Yeah,
Have you
well-
been doing that the whole time?
yeah.
Just stopping talking halfway through. to
Gee,
sit
Ron's
still.
very animated this week. And
This is way too fun. This is way too fun.
I should have put myself on the big screen for that. Just I'm like, so Ron, what do you think about this movie?
I just pull a retarded face and keep it like that.
That'll be the thumbnail for this video we watch.
Yay.
So I wanted to ask a gaming question before we go back to Chris's kamikaze list. What would you say your one biggest gaming tragedy would be?
Pokemon.
Pokemon? What you
What?
invest? I'll define tragedy
Yeah,
as like you've
not finishing it, or
not finishing.
Yeah.
Could be part of your pile of shame. Could be something that you've worked so far. There's so much to do, but you didn't save it, and you know it led to you going fuck this game and just tossing it in a pile, or your mum came in and said time for dinner off, and then just
Never played it again. Or, you know, maybe you moved out and then your mum thought you would never come back, so she stole your gaming console.
yeah. So there's something like that. I mean, I can't imagine anything like that happening, but yeah. Chris?
That couldn't happen. That would be horrible if that ever
No,
happened to
who
anybody.
would do that?
Yeah.
That's insane.
That
Chris.
poor guy.
That's the equivalent of like seeing like $300 on Chris's like set of drawers over there, and like, oh, Chris doesn't live here anymore, so I'll just burn this money. This is no
Hey,
good
anybody
to
watching?
anybody else.
Spend it.
Yeah.
Anybody watching this, donate a console to Chris.
Well, not a console, because I mean, I suppose that's well, I might be able to
But
sell
aren't
them on the
the
side.
new ones are coming out in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, you can just wait it out.
I should do like a donation button sort of thing, just to see what we can get for old Chris there.
Kickstarter.
If we can get you a headset or something, I don't know.
Starting up here now in November. So
Kickstarter.
yeah,
yeah. I thought we're making a fund for Ron to get a better mic. Isn't that what we said the first time?
That is true.
Isn't that why he had
No?
like 6 mics the other week though?
yeah, and they still didn't help. Hey,
Just to give you a snapshot, Ben's microphone is fine. Chris has recently bought the same microphone as me, so expect him to sound 90% sexier next week. And then you've got Ron.
And,
Potato mic.
Potato.
you know, I like potatoes, and if you don't like the way I sound through this mic, fuck ya.
Triple feed. That's all the words I'll say.
Yeah.
Did I just get fired? Looks
It's
like I'm
supposed to be
bringing
the
him
other
back.
way around, Ronald. They're not that. Yeah. We're
I'm
supposed to make it
thinking
easy.
about
for them.
I'm thinking about my now 102 subscribers.
Oh, we
Damn it.
broke 100, did we?
We have broken 100. We broke 100 just the other night, and
Awesome.
combination of a
Welcome to
couple of
everyone.
things. Yeah, welcome to the Club Centurion, I like to call it. I don't know. That was random. Well, thankfully, Ron's not making a sound, so it's not occupying the main screen. So I'll just preempt that and put myself in the main screen. I'm a. Is that a V? Fuke. I don't speak Dutch.
Fuckwit!
Oh, right.
Fuckwit!
Okay. Cool.
Fuckwit!
Oh, okay.
It's pretty fucking simple. You can read it. I know you can read it.
I don't know, but I can't hear you though because your potato mic is distorting everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. More editing.
I'm
At
gonna
least I
go.
won't be up till 2 in the morning this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do, however, have a couple of guests over the course of the next couple of weeks, which will probably be of an international flavour, based in the UK. So, an open preparation for you guys. Just let you know.
Is it Beyonce?
Beyonce.
Beyonce? That'd be awesome. She plays games.
I was just trying to think who's in Australia at the moment.
No. Well, just the fact that we'll have to revert back to the schedule for the last couple of weeks, i.e. 10 p.m. at night to accommodate our English guests potentially. So just letting you know.
Accommodate them, hey.
Have to, mate. Yeah, it's give and take. It's a compromise.
I'm gonna accommodate them.
Accommodate. Check out this Batman little statue though. How good's that?
That was the best segue ever.
Stop looking at Ron and look at this.
So where did you pick that up, Gav?
That was the story behind it is pretty cool actually. I was already in Prime to go down to
Oh, God.
JB. What the fuck's wrong with you? You don't like story time? Story time with Skillsy? What's wrong? And he's frozen. How ironic.
Yeah. You know, you can mute his mic from the bottom of the
I
screen.
can.
As well.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Everyone-
But I won't, in the
everyone's
interest of
precious, though.
fairness. No, the story was,
Yeah.
Chris, I'll answer your question. Thanks, mate. I'd already pre-ordered the game, but I knew in my heart of hearts I wanted the collector's edition, but I didn't know whether or not I had to pre-order the collector's edition. So I get down there and I'm like, right, rehearse the scene that you're going to make in your head. Because on the receipt, it doesn't actually detail collector's edition or not. So I'm like, that could be the
Did
one
you
thing.
handwrite collector's edition in?
Yeah, just like reprint it out on like a dot matrix printer. So I get down there and hand the slip over. I said, yeah, I'm just here to pick this up. And she goes, okay, it was just the game, was it? And I thought, turn a bit of the Skills charm on. I said, well, unless there's a collector's edition that you can hook me up with. She goes, sure, it's just there. It quite literally was
brilliant.
the box. Hang on, I'll get it. It was... She was standing there and it was quite literally, what, you mean this?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like, did I have to pre-order it? She goes, no, you can buy that. So,
Bargain.
One, please.
one please. So I'd already put $10 down on it from the pre-order, and it was only $115. So I thought,
Not bad.
it's going to be probably pretty much the last game I buy on the 360. So push the boat out and get myself the collector's edition and kick off my figurine collection in Superstar. In the
Nice.
box.
Well, that was going to be one of the things I was going to ask you guys about. With all the electronic sales for games, are you guys electronic salespeople, or do you like to have the hard copy or in the option of having collector's editions or bonus items?
It'll differ purely based on the game for me. Like, I'm going to get the Titanfall collector's edition when that gets released. Other games, yeah, I'll probably go digital. But I do like the whole collector's versions of things. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got my
Yes.
Super Duper Splinter Cell kind of thing. I like the steel cases. I'm kind of getting a mini collection of them now. So, yeah. And it doesn't take
Plus
up
there's the
hard drive space.
added bonus that you can make money off it later, where unfortunately with the electronic ones you can't really give it away if you don't like it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to turn into the 40-year-old virgin where I've just got this room of figurines that, is unopened and...
A framed Asia poster.
Yeah, it came with the game. It's like, really? I liked it. You could just have them in the packaging, just like surrounding the room on like a 9-foot high shelf or something. It's like, I'm not all about that. I want them to be out and and viewed and stuff. Give it a quick air blast with the air cleaner kind of thing, just to make sure the dust isn't on it. That's probably getting a bit too fastidious, but I don't know. I just like having the collectible aspect of it. It's really cool that you don't get with a digital version. And there's always the troubleshooting of digital versions as well. If you run into problems, then yeah.
Like my copy of Diablo, where they said the CD key was incorrect, even though
Oh,
it's exactly what was written on the thing.
Yeah.
And to make a complaint, I had to log in with the CD key. Brilliant,
So
brilliant.
you
Mark.
can't log in because your CD key's incorrect. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Good job, Diablo. Ben, did you have a gaming tragedy? We didn't even touch on that
Yeah, I
question.
was going to say, we didn't even answer them.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, I remember back on Sega Mega Drive, I used to go down to, I owned a Sega Mega Drive, and then I used to go down to the local video store, and I hired the Jurassic Park game,
Yeah.
which was like shitloads of fun, and it had the little it was the cartridge, and then there was also like a little expansion pack as well, which
There
you
was.
put the cartridge into, and it was like this really tall thing, and I wasn't very good at the game, but it was so much fun. And then I remember getting like right to the end, back when you didn't have saves or anything like that, and then just right before the end, like the game just stuffed up, and I didn't get to finish it, and I was so gutted. And then I kept on trying after that, but it was something to do with that little extra cartridge thing, just didn't want to work, and I've
And you never
I've
played
never
it
been.
again.
No, I've never. My life has never been 100% complete now. So
That's it. In the
Contemplate
yeah, you
suicide
press the
twice or
pause menu on Ben's life, and you go to the stats, and it's got 98%.
yeah,
Biggest regret. Jurassic
much.
Park. Finished.
yeah.
It's like finishing Splinter Cell with complete stealth. It's like, no, 98%. No. Poor bastard. Chris, did your, I mean, aside from your mum taking your, essentially taking your toys away from you as a grown man, any other tragedies?
Tragedies.
Like someone
No,
actually
I guess.
kicking a PowerPoint out of the wall?
Well, yeah, there was always those ones where having a brother, there was a few times you'd be playing and not letting them have a turn, and the power cable would get pulled out of the wall, or the controller would suddenly disappear.
Word on the street, because Ness was here last night, and she said how Martin's getting into a bit of the old Minecraft these days.
Yes, he is.
He's one of those.
And
Well, I don't think anybody's going to get who those people are. Explain that.
well, I mean, it's not a game for me because I wasn't creative enough to figure out a name that wasn't already taken. So I couldn't get into the game.
What, you didn't get Chris? You couldn't get Chris?
No, it's taken.
Oh.
So I just gave up.
Saints Row 1. No one's taken that.
Either as a game or as a username.
Yeah.
Ah, bless. Yeah, no, mine relates to, unfortunately, the sharing of power boards and how you're playing away, and obviously the power board that has an iron plugged into it with a similar black plug, out comes what was thought to be the iron plug, but it wasn't. It was the freaking Mega Drive. Back when I used to game in the back room with the Mega Drive, that was such an understated system.
Yep.
I freaking loved my Mega Drive.
Well, the other one was, were you guys ever playing the game at a really crucial point when a thunderstorm came and your parents made you turn it off?
Oh,
That was
Unplug
always
everything.
heartbreaking. Yeah. You're not allowed to touch anything.
we're off the grid for the next 40 minutes. Awesome. Yeah. Or as my nan used to have a severe fear of of thunderstorms, to the point where if you were upstairs, you needed to come downstairs. It's like, well, why?
Yeah.
It's like, well, lightning's obviously going to hit the roof first. So if you're upstairs,
And you weren't allowed to take a shower for some reason. I don't know.
yeah. You had to walk around in some sort of rubber suit just to limit the impact of conductivity. Man, why are we in these romper suits? What the fuck? Walking around in a full body condom.
I have one of those. Cool.
As a grown man, you're just smearing yourself in turkey fat. Yeah.
Lubrication, baby.
Or as
Lubrication.
Ron calls it, Thursday. Yeah. Ron, what was your tragedy, mate?
I'd say probably two, because they're kind of pissy, but and also one of them's been touched on. It was basically playing Worms against my brother, and when you knew you'd won and you had a couple worms left and he had none, or one, and he knew it was over, and then switching off the computer and the fight that ensued after that, it was intense.
Like flipping the Monopoly board.
Yeah, it was like the rage you feel when you don't even get to win. You don't get to see who was the worm of the round, who was the most useless or whatever. And
Is the most random sentence you've ever heard.
Most random sentence? Really?
Sentence, yeah.
Oh.
You don't get to see who is the worm of the round. I mean,
Yeah,
if someone was giving multiple choice,
MVP.
I can't imagine those words coming out of anyone's mouth. But anyway, yeah.
fair enough. But the main one is actually one of I think that before Rockstar became Rockstar, they were called DMZ or something like that.
DMC, yeah.
DMC, yeah, there you go, DMC,
DMV.
and they released a game called
DMV, yeah.
Department of Motor Vehicles.
DMV.
Who'd have thought such a shocking company would come up with such a great game?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, the game was Body Harvest. It was one of the first games where you could jump into any car, any vehicle, and it was 3D. So this was before GTA 3, but pretty sure GTA 1 and 2 had already been out. But I remember getting that on the 64, and I loved the game, like, back then. And it got to this point where you're flying a plane, like you can jump in planes too. I mean, it's awesome. And it just gets to this point where there's a massive boss on a mountain, and it's just fucking impossible to do. And just playing that over and over, and then summoning up the courage week by week to replay just that level from the save point as well. Like, it's not just before the battle; it's the save point. You got to just
half
piss loads
hour
of
before.
stuff, and then fucking take off in the plane. And the thing is, I would crash the plane right after taking off, and just fucking spike the controller, and just not play it for another week again. So it was, and I never beat it. Just never beat it. So it was
Do you
like
still
a
have it?
horrible, yeah, like a horrible recurring nightmare. What you
Oh,
just
wow.
want to
Groundhog
know-
Day.
See if we can get some footage of you winning it now after all those years.
Or playing
if
Ben
I
at it,
did
that'd be
feel
awesome.
myself doing it, I would just get angrier and angrier and end up breaking one of my two 64 controllers. So,
Or should we get Ben over there to see if he can do it first
Yeah.
time?
On the first try.
sure. I would be really surprised because
Ben's just like, why is this game so hard? I've just pretty much beat it. And, oh, high score. Sorry, Ron.
I would love to see that. Hands down, I would love to see that. If he can actually do that, because I'd be happy too, because I want to see what happens next in the story, to be continued, fucking 15 years later, kind of thing. So, I just wanted to finish it. That's all. That's all I wanted to do. So, Ben, if you can help,
Yeah.
help.
They call him
I'll
the
give you a
Doctor.
hand.
Thanks.